Never stop reading Bible.
Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're going to jump into what I think is one of the most powerful sections in the entire book of Romans. We're going to see how a real deep understanding of salvation can totally reshape everything about how we live.
And we're going to do that by looking at three specific chapters, 11, 12, and 13. What's so cool is how they build on each other. It's this perfect, logical flow, you know? It starts with the big mystery of God's plan, then moves to how that plan transforms us, and finally, what our role is out in the world.
So this whole journey really boils down to two huge questions, right? First, what exactly is salvation? And second, if we really truly get it, how is that supposed to change the way we live day in and day out?
All right, let's start with chapter 11. This is where we get the bedrock, the theological foundation for everything else. And what it shows us is this amazing, kind of mysterious, and just wonderfully inclusive plan for salvation, one that honestly can really challenge what we expect.
To get this idea across, the text uses this really powerful picture of an olive tree. So think of it like this. The natural branches, they represent Israel who first got God's promise. But then you have these grafted branches, that's the Gentiles, who get brought into the exact same tree through faith. They're all drawing life from the same root. It's such a beautiful picture of inclusion, isn't it?
And here's the key thing to remember. God has not walked away from his promises. It's wild, but in this sort of mysterious way, Israel's stumbling actually opened the door for the rest of the world to get grafted in. And this is huge. It's not something to be proud about. It's a reason for deep, deep humility. It just goes to show that God's plan makes a way for everyone to be saved. It's both totally fair and incredibly merciful.
And when you step back and look at all this, it just leads to a moment of pure awe. I mean, faced with the sheer scale and genius of God's plan, what else can you do but just wonder? This quote really nails that feeling, you know? Like you stand in front of something beautiful and way bigger than you can fully wrap your head around.
Okay, so that brings us to a really important turning point. If that's the amazing, grace-filled reality of salvation, what's next? What do we do with that? How does a truth this big actually turn into action in our lives? Well, chapter 12 answers that question head-on. It makes this huge pivot from all that deep theology to real everyday practice. It shows us that the right response to this kind of grace isn't just nodding your head and saying, I agree. Nope, it's a completely transformed life, a life that becomes an act of worship.
But what does spiritual worship even mean? It's definitely not just about what happens on a Sunday morning. It's way bigger. It's this ongoing state of gratitude where your whole being, your thoughts, your actions, your body, your soul, the whole shebang becomes a living, breathing offering to God. And in day-to-day life, this looks like a very real, actionable guide for living. It's not just a list of nice ideas. We're talking about sincere love, real humility. It's a call to serve with passion, to hang in there when things get tough, to be generous, and to always, always choose peace over getting even. This is what faith in motion really looks like.
So, we've talked about our personal lives and our community. Now chapter 13 zooms out. It asks, okay, how does this transformed person interact with the wider world? You know, with governments, with secular society, with everyone. And the guidance here is pretty clear. It's kind of two-sided. First, there's a responsibility to respect governing authorities, recognizing their role in keeping justice and peace. But then there's a second duty that's just as important, our duty to our neighbors. And that's to actively love and care for them, just like we care for ourselves.
This is where it all comes together. Love is the engine that drives everything else. See, it's not just one more rule to follow. It's the one thing that actually fulfills all the other laws. Because when you're truly acting out of love, you just naturally end up doing what all the other commands were pointing to anyway.
And the chapter wraps up with this really urgent call to action. Wake up. Don't just float through life. Live with purpose. Actively put on the armor of light and clothe yourself with Christ. Basically, let your faith define who you are and everything you do.
All right, so let's pull all three of these chapters together for a second. What we've seen is this really clear path, a journey that takes us from a foundational belief all the way to how we act in our everyday lives.
It's such a powerful progression, right? First, you have to believe. You grasp God's incredible, inclusive plan of grace. Then, that belief starts to transform you from the inside out, turning your entire life into worship. And finally, that inner change gives you the power to act out in the world, fulfilling every law through that one simple, powerful idea, love.
And that really leaves us with one last question to chew on, a personal one. If the whole point is to offer your life up as worship, what does your offering look like today, right now?
What are you presenting with your thoughts, your actions, your love for the people around you?
Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. This was brought to you by the Center Studio.